Yes, now, and welcome back to episode 152 of the Top Load podcast. In this episode, they'll be making a big announcement regarding the future of the podcast, but also looking back on an absolutely terrific London Card Show weekend for the pickups, sales, being tired as we normally are after the shows. But most importantly, before I do get into this episode of the Top Loaded Podcast, a massive thanks to the guys over at Third Down UK for powering up this episode of the Top Loaded Podcast. Whether you need card supplies, custom card stands, great preparation kits, or whatever hobby needs you might require, head over to their Instagram page, check out their website in the link in our bio, and use TTP10 for 10% off. And I have just alluded to it, and I'm going to start there before we get into the London Car Show. This week is we're celebrating on the 15th 3 whole years of the Top Loaded podcast. It was started back on 15th of February 2022, which is crazy to think all that time has already passed since the first episode. And since then, we've had a few weeks off here and there. We've had 152 episodes. It's been an absolute blast. But going forward, I will be making a change to the Top Load. But I always strive for the best content for you guys out there who are listening to the podcast, who are enjoying the podcast. And because of this, we're here from next episode. So from episode 153, we will be going to fortnightly episodes. We'll be going to an episode every 2 weeks. I want to keep delivering the best possible content for you guys with most amount of news, more planning, and we're mainly focusing on quality over quantity. And obviously, some guys might be a bit annoyed that it's not a weekly format anymore, but it's been an absolute blast of 3 years. But don't worry, we're not going nowhere. The Top Loaded podcast will live on. We are continuing on a fortnight basis. Don't worry, there will be special episodes soon. So, on occasions, you will still get weeklies. But on the whole, the normal, regular service will be every 2 weeks going forward from the next one. So, next Tuesday, obviously, on the. Don't expect one every 2 weeks' time. But moving on from that, obviously, let me know what you guys want to see. Do you like the idea of it? Do you mind? Do you want us to try and focus on weekly episodes? But the decision is for going forward, it'll be every 2 weeks. But we'll leave that in the past. Um, it's been a massive joy. Before I get into this London show, I just want to say a massive thanks yet again. 152 episodes, 3 years has been. It's been an absolute blast from winning the award of the podcast of the year to meeting all you guys, going to shows, whatever it may be. It really struck me back in this week at the card show, having so many people come up saying, really enjoying the podcast, keep up the great work. And that's why I've made this. It's a tricky decision. It's been on my mind, but it's finally time to take it that I want to deliver the best content for everyone out there. And don't get wrong, whereas some of these episodes have been 20, 30 minutes, I'm hoping to go back to the 45 to hour and 15-minute episodes every 2 weeks, having special guests on different segments, really focusing on news as well, getting back to where we really enjoyed the podcast. But moving on now, this weekend, obviously at Sandown Racecourse, was the London Card Show, and I was vending for the first ever time. I didn't know what to really expect. I wasn't taking stock that was always going to be absolutely liquid. It wasn't always going to move dead straight away because I was focusing on the women's side of it. Obviously, for people who don't know, the women's side of the market is just incredibly lower than the men's. There's just less people collecting it. There's not as many cards. So I was very intrigued to see what the footfall and interest would be at the London Card Show for women's stuff. And I've got to admit, I was very taken back, very surprised by the sheer quantity of people looking at the cards, talking about women's football. It's great to see. And like I say, we're still so early on in the progress of the actual women's side of the hobby within the UK. I've got to say, on the island, I was very happy to be joined with She Scores Cards to the right of me. Um, Lav Collects UK on the left of me, who had a couple of very nice women, Salma Paralejo slabs, and then as well as GBW's Dub Breaks, who had some unbelievable women's slabs. So seeing that imprint of women's football at these shows, it's brilliant. There's younger people coming up to stalls talking about some of their favourite women's footballers, and it's going to be a long road to get it to where we want it to be in terms of popularity. The UK is so small hobby wise, and within the say 100% of people who are collecting them in the UK, only 2% are probably collecting women's cards. So it's still a long way to go. But going on to the show, for anyone who wants to see a visual representation of what I'm saying, if you head over to my Instagram or my official TikTok at RP Trading Cards, you'll see the whole day. Some of the cards are picked up. There's a couple more. I will be showing them off in a minute anyway. But yeah, incredible in show. Obviously set up, had a display case flick through. There was a brilliant live last week that Harry of London Card Show done with GBW Sports Cards UK, obviously Dan and Jojo JMS, obviously JJJ Cards, about the show. And they say that £1 to £100 mark is a really good one. Now, the flick through done absolutely incredible for me. Half of it had been cleared before 9:30. Not as much interest in the £40 to £100 women's cards, which was a bit of a shame. So I had quite a few of them, but it's one of them that is slowly growing. I didn't anticipate to sell absolute fortunes. I done well enough to for a point that I would consider vending again / showcasing, which I'll probably want to do a bit more of next time. Really growing the interest in the women's side of the game. But moving on to the actual show, I was only there for the Saturday of the show, where all the counts of everyone I spoke to at the Sunday was another busy day. But being a vendor, I thought it was tiring walking around talking to people. But when you're a vendor, it's even more tiring. You're on your feet the whole time. The show's so busy that one person comes up to your table and then they will leave, and then another person. And it's a constant flow of. I'm not kidding you. I probably got away for about 5 minutes of the whole show away from the table. So I wanted to do so much more content, video reels and stuff like that. Just didn't get time to, because of the show. But it's absolutely busy. The show mobbed. Absolutely fantastic day. Managed to pick up quite a few cards. Did move about 70 cards as well, which was fantastic. But before I go on to what I've picked up, selling wise, it's definitely one of those for the women's side of it that you've got to be prepared not to move an abundance of stock. But yeah, again, what I've learned from it of the big names actually do get interest, but it's obviously Arsenal women. I did have the question quite a few times: have you got any Arsenal women cards for sale? And I had to say, unfortunately, not. I should have. I've got quite a few duplicates, but I couldn't bring myself to taking them. Don't know why. I really should have. Might have got some more quids in the pocket, but Arsenal women definitely did well. Lionesses for sure. The Bombatis, Porteases got a lot of people interested, but no buyers. I sold one of my Alexia Porteas slabs, which was a nice one to move on. But going forward, I would probably focus on maybe a bit more the flick throughs, but also working out the price points of cards. It's an intriguing one, but it's really pot luck, and this is what we were saying on our island as well. It comes down to an aspect of if you're at the London Card Show, it's solely dependent on who walks up to your table, who comes through the front door. If you have 50 women's collectors all come on one day, you're going to be very busy. Or if no women's collectors come, you're going to be empty. Whereas with men's stuff, you've got a lot more interest. People might be flipping it, selling it, grading it. There's just not as much interest. And that's one of the things what I took from it. But speaking to a lot of vendors, I got around trade night to speak to a lot more people, and in the pub in between. Everyone that I spoke to, especially who was vending, said they had an absolutely brilliant day, busy day, done a lot of business, whether it was buying, selling, trading. So it seems to have gone down really well from a vendor's perspective. Obviously, which is going to be quite intriguing leading into the next one, which tickets are now available for the show in May. Obviously, the Friday as well, which is going to be a very intriguing one from my perspective to see how that goes. Obviously, it's the first of its kind within the United Kingdom and obviously Europe as well. So it'd be very interesting to see how well that does, what kind of foot traffic there is, what kind of movement, deals being done. But going back to this show, Harry and the team absolutely killed it yet again. The formula that they've got for this one, obviously, this is the similar formula what they've had for the last couple. They've got it down to a T. Tickets were completely sold out. There is that room still for more demand of tickets. So Sandown is getting quite near capacity, I think, of what they can do with the London Card Show. And I can't wait. Like I say, I wasn't expecting the Friday to be announced. So I'm quite intrigued to see what they have up their sleeves, what their future plans are going into probably more 2026, I would say. Um, but moving on now to the pickups, because I know everyone likes pickups, and I didn't expect to have this many pickups, so brace yourselves. Because this is going to go on for longer than what it normally does. But starting out here, there was a lovely gift from a good friend, Sports Guard UK, which is Dan. I will be buying him a Guinness in Dublin when we go out there as a thank you. But match worn patch of Granit Xhaka, which is quite nice. I haven't picked up too many Granit Xhakas recently, especially at car shows. You barely ever see them. And then this was a lovely one. There's a lovely story behind this one as well. This Granit Xhaka here, Ruby from Immaculate from Tmall, number 2 of 8. A Dutch gentleman come up to me and saying, "I really enjoy your podcast when I go for runs or working out," and it really takes you back a bit as well that people are not just listening within like London and the UK, but Europe as well. I've got to deal with this. I'm very happy to add this to the collection, but it's just that's another thing what's really really taken back sometimes how many people do listen to the podcast. And I say a massive thanks yet again. That was another lovely pickup. I didn't anticipate a lot of these. I just didn't anticipate picking them up. Another card I did pick up was this green to 99 Chloe Lacasse. Everyone does know I like a Chloe Lacasse card. I think I've got 3 of these ones now, so I will probably send one off for grading soon. I believe this one is by a gentleman with Wax Off Cards who is going into a lot more content, which is great to see. Done a deal with him. He done a deal with Jeeps, I believe, GBW, and JMS, and Sports Cards UK. So do check out his channel. And then coming up next is something that I didn't think I'd be walking away with, which is ace graded slabs. I've never even held them in person to see how much I really like them. But I do apologise if you're listening to this. I completely forgot your name. But thanks very much for doing these, because I actually got to admit, I'm actually a massive fan of these ace grading slabs. They do remind me of HGA, I think it was. The ones with the multicolored label back in the day in terms of the actual texture of their slabs. I would say quite similar to a CSG now, or CGC, as they've been rebranded. But I did pick up these lovely ones as well. So we've got a Ace 10 Beth Mead from the first WSL sticker book, Alessia Russo from the same one in a 10 as well, a Leah Williamson in the 10, and then an Alessia Russo insert. So very happy to add them ones. Something I wasn't anticipating adding to the PC, but got to admit, I'm very impressed with them. Once they do open submissions again, Ace Green, and I think I might actually send some more stickers off to get them graded up, and obviously all in 10s as well. Now it's 2 different Woba Moy cards. I got this one first of all. A family come up to me, and I believe her son had just ripped an Arsenal Forever box, and he managed to pull this lot of Woba Moy to 25 or 25 as well. And so it was quite a tricky one because they didn't really have a price in mind. So I believe the comps were at 20, 25, but I thought that was a bit low. So I offered £30. They accepted it. So very happy to add this one collection. And then obviously my good friend Tara, who's on the table next to me, had another Woba Moy to 25, but the other design, which was this one here. And I just knew I've got this one. I would have to go home with that one as well. Especially after just picking up the black to 10 as well. So I said to Tara, we should do a trade on it. And we managed to get a trade deal. I had a Alexia Porteas, PSA 8 Auto 10, Queens of Football, Chrome Auto, which we've done that, and part money as well. So very happy, and massive thank you again, Tara from She Scores Cards for picking it up. And then another one walked up to the She Scores table, but pointed her in my direction. And I think it's no surprise now that people will probably expect this to be a Stina Blackstenius card. Ended up picking up a load of her cards. Have got one of my favourite cards I do own, which is currently at PSA, is the Seat Reddick Arsenal Forever Stina Blackstenius Black to 10. And I managed to pick up the purple as well, which is 1 of 15. It's just a stunning card. Part of the seat as well from the stadium. Lovely auto, lovely parallel. One I didn't expect to be picking up. Got it for a very reasonable price, so it was one I couldn't really turn down. And then moving on now to this is one of these stories that I'll always remember forever whilst I'm into cars, or even like so. The only time I step away from the table, it must have been in the 3:30, that 3 o'clock area. So I thought, right, boys, I said, do you mind my stall for a second? I'm just going to have a quick walk around. Plan to get 10 minutes, get some videos done. So I was doing a brief walk around. I've got halfway through the venue. And then someone came up to me and said, have you seen Gus? Well, this is Growls by Gus. He's got something that you are going to be interested in. Okay, no, I haven't. I'll go and find him. Take another 10 steps. Someone else says it. And then another 10 steps. I walk past the table. Then El Toro says it. And then Lav says it. So then I'm finding him. Then HJA comes out and says it. And I'm thinking, this has got to be something quite intriguing for people to be out there trying to find me because they've got these cards. And I wasn't expecting what was to come next. And I definitely wasn't anticipating this pickup. So first was this Viviana Miedema to 5, Arsenal Forever, red parallel, colour match, 1 of 5, auto. And even just that, I would have been like, wow, yeah, I wasn't expecting to pick up. And then this is definitely a card I did not expect to be going home with on Saturday night, not alone ever owning in the PC. The Viviana Miedema 1 of 1 full fractor auto from Arsenal Forever. So in a turn of events of about 10 minutes, obviously it was a considerable deal. It set me back £450 for the 1 of 1 and to 5, which I think is a very, very reasonable deal. Like I say, a massive thanks to Growls by Gus, who facilitated the deal and managed to pick it up on my behalf, and then I managed to get it off of him. Massive thanks, Gus. I have said to him as well, I owe him a beer. You'll see a common theme going along here. But no, massive. I still can't believe that these cards are in my collection. Famously did say on the morning of Saturday that I won't be buying Viviana Miedema or Arsenal Forever autos. Now she's gone. Then finished the day with a 1 of 1. But I think if anyone would agree, when 1 of 1s present an opportunity, especially of a person of all-time record goal scorer in the WSL, is an Arsenal legend despite leaving in the summer. It's just one of them deals that you can't refuse and you can't turn down. So they were my pickups. I think for one of the only times ever on this podcast, I think I will get the credit of people for actually doing some lovely pickups. So moving on now just to the overall experience. Would I vendor again? Yes. Would I recommend vendoring? Yes. But one thing I would say, be cautious of what stock you do have. Flick throughs, I would say, is the biggest yes. If you're going to do a London car show, have a flick through. Whether it's pound card, I had it down £1, £3, and then selected others with different numbers. But I would highly recommend going for that approach. That done very well. It draws people into the table. They like the idea of finding a bargain. Obviously, it's nice to have some higher bits if they do sell. Sadly, mine didn't. Will I vendor at the May show? Obviously, schedule depending. I'd love to set up again. I think it'd be really nice to start solidifying myself as a vendor as well, but also trying to get a bit more presence within the UK hobby. Obviously, focusing on the podcast for the last 3 years, I want it to go hand in hand with the RP Trading Cards brand. So being more visual in public in terms of shows, content, vendoring, trying to grow the women's side, not just via shows, but also via content as well, which I'm planning to do a lot more of. How do they get bigger? How do they get better? Like I say, the Friday's going to be very intriguing for this next show. I really hope I'll be able to make it. I think that's one of them. It's the natural evolution of a show. It happens in all of them in America, but obviously the UK and Europe is a very different show. But if anyone's going to be able to put it off as Europe's biggest show, they will be able to do it. And like I say, if you are trying to get down for the May show, whether it's the Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, if you head over to their website, if you go over to their Instagram and use the link in the bio, tickets are available now. So if you want to grab your VIP packages or whatever it may be, I would recommend you picking it up now because believe it or not, them VIPs don't last too long. And by the time you know it, them 12 weeks would have eradicated and it would be London Car Show time again. So my overall experience this show, I'd probably say it's a 9 out of 10. The only downside is some of the other cars I tried to move, I didn't really move, but that's just having women's cards. If they're men's cards, they probably would have moved and got moved a lot quicker. So it was an absolute fantastic show. Congratulations to all of the team, Harry, Katie, and the rest of them. It's always a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me down again. But obviously, moving on from the London Card Show, I'm happy to announce that I will be at the Dublin Card Show on the 1st of March. I cannot wait. By the end of this month, on February 28th, I'll be flying out. I can't wait to be sharing a few Guinnesses with some good friends in the hobby, but then also experiencing my first international card show. And for me, people know I do love collecting Katie McCabe cards. The chance of potentially picking up some Katie McCabe cards in Ireland is going to be a great fun. I will be wearing my Katie McCabe shirt as well on the Saturday of the show. I honestly can't wait for that one. It's circled on my calendar. So as soon as the London Card Show finished, the next circle in the calendar is the Dublin Card Show, which I cannot wait to see the guys at Soccer Cards United to see what they get on with at the show. It's going to be great fun. Like I say, there's a load of people going out. I'm hoping to make some really good content out there as well. So can't wait for that one. I won't be vendoring. I won't be taking any cards unless there's any pre-set up deals. It'll be more a case of going out there for a couple of days, enjoying Ireland, enjoying a different card show, but also just having a different experience in the hobby. And that's what I've been lacking on in the past couple of years, of being able to get out to these other shows. So I cannot wait come the end of the month to be in Ireland, having a couple of Guinnesses with some good friends, buying some cards, maybe opening a box or two. But yeah, other news within the hobby is kind of ticking along as it goes. Team GB parallels have finally started arriving, which is absolutely fantastic. I did receive my Keely Hodgkinson 299 for Tops now, so congratulations. And massive thanks to Fab at Tickets and Slabs, who I did share a lovely beer with at the in between the trade night and the actual show, talking all things GB with Sports Cards Premier Liam as well. It was a lovely time talking Team GB, which was very nice as well. But yeah, they're finally starting around, so hopefully we get to see the Sky Brown and Andy Murray parallels very soon. But yeah, like I say, it's interesting to own hobby. I'm really hoping now that Topps can get their act together a bit with their release schedule. As everyone knows, for me, I'll be heading out to Switzerland as well now in July for the second women's semi-final, which I can't wait for. So hopefully by then we would have Merlin Chrome Euros, which has been announced last year. Hopefully licensing can be agreed, but I highly doubt it for England. England, Germany, France, and Italy, I believe. But in other news, I'm really hoping that Women's Chrome could potentially come out soon. I know we've not had any inkling or anything like that, but last year it came out more October, November time. And with the Women's Euros, it would make no sense at all to have all Women's Euros cards come out in June, May, June, and then bring out Women's Chrome in like October. So I'm really hoping that gets on track. Obviously, now it's 2025, so we're waiting to see a lot more releases. It's crazy to think, and I was thinking about this the other day, that there's only months left now on the Panini license with the Premier League. So it'd be really nice to see how they close off that whole era of cards. And obviously moving into Topps Premier League Chrome, obviously all the top sets. But no, like I say, it's been an interesting week, a very busy card show. It's one of them, as soon as you're done and you get home, you just sleep. I think I went to bed at about 11 o'clock, and I slept through to 10 the next day. Just completely out with it. And that was only after one day. So whoever done both days, no doubt you probably had an unbelievable sleep just like that. But like I say, I can't wait for upcoming shows. Let us know in the comments, or shoot me a DM either at RP Trading Cards or the Top Loaded Podcast, what you'd like to see at London car shows coming up. Did you enjoy yourself? What did you pick up? Also, you heading to Dublin? Who am I going to be out there seeing in Dublin? But also, what would you like to see from the podcast going forward? Which guests coming back on? Which topics? Which talking points? Because now we're going to go back to a lot more longer format every 2 weeks. So, like, just to recap that news from the beginning of the episode, going forward from episode 153 of Top Load Posts, we will be going fortnightly. There will be some special occasion, like special episodes with special guests. However, we will be going to a fortnightly basis. So I just want to say, before I do wrap up this episode of the Top Loaded Podcast, a massive thank you for everyone for the 3 absolutely amazing years of support. We are not going anywhere. We might be doing half the episodes, but when we're going to be making them double more enjoyable to listen to, more content, more things like that. So if you, I don't, I like selflessly plugging nowadays, but if you can just head over to my Instagram, RP Train Cards, or the TikTok. I'm really trying hard to grow the brand and also grow the women's community as well. So a massive thank you, everyone, for the continued support on the podcast or on my personal page. A massive thank you for every single person at London Car Show who came up and said something about the podcast. It meant more than you could ever imagine. I hope everyone out there is having a lovely time. Hope everyone is staying safe, doing well. A massive thanks yet again to the guys over at Third Down UK for powering up this episode of the Top Loaded Podcast. Whether you need car stands, great preparation kits, whatever supplies you require, they will have it, whether it's in store or on their website. Head over to our bio, check the link in our bio, and use the code TTP10 at checkout to save 10% off absolute everything. But I hope everyone out there is doing safe, staying well, buying, selling, trading, and all that good jazz. But most importantly, happy hobbying and good night.